Yo, Havoc Nation has arrived. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Los Angeles Havoc, aka Leitato, the one and only High Priest of the congregation, and welcome back to another installment of Leitato Clips, where we got a little bit of everything. Now, we are back with another reaction for the Relic First Guardian. I've done the story and exploration trailer reaction, which is decently long. It's like 12 minutes or so. Then we have reacted to the Meet the Brutals trailer, which is a introduction and snapshot of the bosses of the game. Now we're going to take a look at a deep dive combat showcase trailer. It's another long one, so bear with me, but I'm very curious to see if some of the things I talked about in the Meet the Brutals reaction will get discussed further in this one. So we'll take a look. But this game comes out July 31st. So I'm trying to have all of this up before then. So my thoughts will be clear. But I'm very much looking forward to this game. I'm very excited for it. It will be something I'll probably have to wait for because I have other things that I'm looking forward to, and I do not want to overwhelm myself. At any rate, let's dive in. Let's take a deep dive, if you will.
In the previous showcase, we introduced the stories players discover through exploration, and the traces left behind throughout this world. In this video, we'll show how that exploration connects to combat and progression, and what kinds of bosses players will face at the end of that journey. Everything in the Relic ultimately begins with exploration. You walk the path, fight enemies, and discover the records left behind. Those records lead to new paths, sometimes to rewards, and sometimes to places where powerful bosses await. Exploration is not simply time spent moving from place to place. Exploration leads to combat. Combat leads to rewards, and the rewards lead back to new choices and deeper exploration.
Okay, I like that.
Combat in the Relic is not simply about reducing an enemy's health. Every enemy has its own stamina. Players can reduce enemy stamina through attacks and parries. When that stamina is fully depleted, the enemy enters the groggy state. This moment becomes an important opportunity to turn the tide of battle. But attacking blindly will not be enough to take control of the fight. When to attack, when to step back, which attacks to evade, and which attacks to parry. Those decisions can change the outcome of battle. The player's stamina is not used for attacks or defensive actions such as dodging and guarding. The tempo of offense is created through the combination of weapons, skills, and relics. Stamina remains an important resource for surviving dangerous moments. The Relic aims for fast-paced combat, but we wanted decision-making and rhythm to remain alive within that speed. The story we face here begins with a son who hated poverty and the dust of his village. He wanted to leave behind his small, poor village and gain treasure and fame. But what he pushed away was not merely a humble meal. It was the time his mother spent working for him, the warmth of the home that waited for him, and the feelings he could never express until the end. All of it remained here, buried in the dust.
The sight of my...
The son gained fame and treasure, but the only person he wanted to show them to was no longer by his side. The dust he hated so much eventually became irreversible regret, and that regret found him in place. At the edge of the village, before a shabby house, The player faces a being left at the end of that regret, the prodigal bound in dust. He's not simply a monster, he's the story of a man who realized too late everything he had abandoned.
See, I love that. I love that so much.
In boss battles, the combat decisions made so far become even more important. Watch the boss's movements, evade their attacks, break their stamina with parries, and use skills and relics to create brief offense. Some bosses can evade the player's attacks, and at times they can parry and interrupt the flow of battle. Boss battles are not one-sided moments of attack. They're exchanges where decisions are made in every brief moment. The boss is powerful, but he too is one of the stories left behind in this world.
Brutal felled.
After defeating the boss, the player discovers the final trace of this story. The treasure and fame he pursued all his life never reached his mother.
Mother, if there is another life beyond this veil, I beg you, let me be your son once more.
The hollow worries left upon the rejected meal, and the foul greed stained upon the boots, bought with her life's blood. The boundless love of a mother who departed, embracing all his hypocrisy as treasure, eventually became an irreversible guilt, devouring the man's soul. His unreached atonement now pulls him not forward, but into the silence of
It's like you're kind of playing a movie.
that longs for a voice, or she once brushed the dust.
Very
from his
interesting
shoes,
choice for storytelling.
called only his name.
What he left behind was not a brilliant jewel. It was only a cold ceiling stone hardened by regret. Only in death did he leave behind a confession that never reached his mother. If there is another life, he asks her to be the mother of her foolish son once more. In that life, he will not be ashamed of the dust upon his shoes. He will finish the warm meal his mother prepared for him and stay by her side until the end. In the Relic, a boss is not simply an enemy to be defeated. There are memories left behind in this world, and sometimes there are confessions that are never spoken in time. But this is only one of many stories left behind in this world. In this world, countless beings born from different desires and regrets, rage and
That's a
obsession,
crazy ass
sacrifice and desire are waiting.
Shit!
Now the remaining stories are yours to discover. In the end, all things become a story.
Again, just the atmosphere of the fight is just incredible.
What's meant for me
Relic First Guardian. Now, your story begins.
PlayStation.
So I really like, so I guess I was correct. So everything kind of loops in together. Quest lines, exploration, boss fights. And the fact that confirmation that every boss is tied to the overall world and story. That's as it should be. That's as it should be. Nothing against like mini bosses or just kind of throwaway bosses that are just kind of there to just take up time, you know, to block a space and everything like that. But I always prefer when there's always a reason for this being to be there. You know, being a Souls player, it always intrigues me, the lore of the bosses, because a lot of times, you know, depending on which game we're talking about, sometimes the story isn't always told well, or the story is kind of left ambiguous and you have to find bits and pieces. There's the Bloodborne method where everything is kind of tied into the items that you pick up, and then you just kind of have to like puzzle piece it all together. All of these different games and their different identities within the genre itself all have different ways of telling their stories and doing so very well, but all of the bosses typically do have some sort of meaning behind them, and their place in the world. So I love that this game is doing its own iteration of that and tying it into the overall progression and narrative that they're doing. I also like that there's narration on top of the story beats that you're picking up as you're progressing through these quest lines and everything. I think it creates a very interactive feel, something that you can kind of listen along to as you go through the world and kind of just take in everything. I like that. I think that's dope. So I'm definitely going to have to get my hands on this. Again, probably won't be a pickup at launch type of title for me. But I encourage those of you that are super interested, pick it up. It seems like it's going to be a good one. Drops July 31st. So this might actually be a sleeper hit with the genre, to be completely honest with you. And I can't wait till I have some time and I can kind of jump into it and check it out further. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all for this reaction. Another long one. So I'll leave my commentary there. If you enjoyed the reaction, enjoyed the video, do be sure to give it a thumbs up. It's a little bit, but it does go a long way in terms of helping the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this, like what I do here on the channel, do be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. But once again, my name is Lost Angel of Havoc. Thank you for watching Late Tato Clips. We will see you next time, friends. Same late time, same late channel.